You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back, everyone. Meteorologist Scott Dean with your Weather on the Ones forecast as we take a look at the first few days of the work week as we remain in this active weather pattern with storm systems moving across the country from west to east. One of those moving into portions of the mid-Atlantic into the northeast with some showers. The good news is with this type of pattern, we're getting a break from the Arctic air pushing southward, but it also means more active weather pushing into the Pacific, especially the Pacific Northwest along the west coast. As you can see, some rain and snow with the latest storm pushing into those regions. Also looking at some showers that are moving through the Ohio River Valley into the Tennessee Valley as one storm system that affected the Northeast is now moving offshore. Let's take a look at our Futurecast model as we're going to be watching that one system pushing eastward with some rain as we go into Tuesday morning into the Northeast. Also looking at some mountain snows with more energy coming into the Pacific Northwest with some rain and snow as we take you into Tuesday afternoon. Looks like more rain is going to develop along a frontal boundary in the Ohio River Valley down through the southern plains around Dallas, as we'll see more rain and snow in the Pacific Northwest as we take you into a Wednesday afternoon. It looks like Wednesday night into very early Thursday we'll start to see some snow breaking out with that latest system moving through New England, including the state of Maine. So that could bring some accumulating snow to those areas. We do have winter weather advisories for the Pacific Northwest, including winter storm warnings for portions of Oregon. As we look at the snowfall forecast, it's going to be mainly confined to the northern tier states from the northern Rockies through the upper Midwest and eventually into the Northeast as we go into Wednesday night. As far as rainfall is concerned, we're going to see some heavier rain along that first system in portions of the Ohio River Valley, but the greatest rainfall will most likely fall in the Pacific Northwest, where some areas could see several inches of rainfall.
A new report from the U.S. Department of Justice shows that a police department near New York City violated residents' civil rights. The report shows that the Mount Vernon Police Department made illegal arrests and forced strip searches. The DOJ says that the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor sparked an investigation into several police departments across the nation. Mount Vernon's mayor says it is cooperating, adding that the city has already taken steps to improve its policing. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is recovering from hip replacement surgery in Germany after falling at an event in Luxembourg. The 84-year-old Congresswoman was visiting Europe with a bipartisan congressional delegation to mark the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. She fell and fractured her hip and underwent surgery at an army hospital in Germany. A spokesperson for the California Democrat promises Pelosi, quote, is well on the mend. President-elect Donald Trump and the CEO of Japan's telecommunications giant SoftBank have announced a $100 billion investment in U.S. projects over the next 4 years, spurred, according to the CEO, by Trump's re-election victory.
This historic investment is a monumental demonstration of confidence in America's future, and it will help ensure that artificial intelligence, emerging technologies, and other industries of tomorrow are built, created, and grown right here in the USA.
My confidence level to the economy of the United States has tremendously increased with his victory.
The plans call for creating 100,000 jobs focused on artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, all slated to be complete before Trump leaves office in 2029. Trump has announced similar deals before, like the 2017 $10 billion Foxconn factory deal in Wisconsin. The Taiwan-based company promised 13,000 new jobs, though the investment was scaled back after the pandemic. The U.S. Federal Reserve is poised to lower its key borrowing rate this week, despite recent data that shows that inflation remains above the central bank's 2% target. Policymakers are expected to reduce the benchmark interest rate by 1/4 point on Wednesday. It would be the third consecutive cut, though likely the last cut for some time, as the economy shows stubborn inflation at 2.7% in a recent report. The holidays are upon us, and frankly, you are running out of time if you plan on shipping any gifts. Spectrum News anchor Jenna Enoch breaks down the important deadlines if you want your gift to get there in time for Christmas.
Today is the deadline to ship things to certain places, and the deadline to get gifts there before Christmas in general is fast approaching, especially if you don't want to have to pay extra for express shipping.
No peeking.
Local post offices are getting busy, jam-packed with anxious holiday goers trying to get those packages to their destinations before Christmas. And with a shortened holiday season in anticipation of the rush, many shipping services added employees. USPS hired 7,500 seasonal workers to help out.
It's a challenging time of year for us, but we always try and staff up well, prepare our carriers.
And while mail carriers and postal workers are trying their hardest, there are some hard and fast deadlines shippers need to stick to in order to get their gifts delivered on time. So here we go. If you want to go the cheapest route, December 18th is your deadline for ground shipping or first class mail. Then December 19th is the deadline for priority mail, and express mail is December 21st. Heads up for folks shipping internationally and want it there for Christmas, it must be sent today and via priority mail. And packages going to Alaska and Hawaii, today's the deadline for the cheapest option there. Jenna Enoch, Spectrum News.
More Americans are using buy now, pay later services to avoid accumulating massive credit card debt. More and more retailers are adopting what is known as BNPL. A new report shows that on Cyber Monday, consumers spent nearly $1 billion using the program. That was a record amount for a single day. Experts do caution, though, that while these services can offer flexibility, they also carry financial risks, especially if consumers miss paying back what they owe. Small businesses in western North Carolina face a long road to recovery after Helene. Just ahead, the financial struggles for a dry cleaner who's hoping to bounce back.
Spectrum News Plus. News from a new perspective, dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the nation. With balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News Plus. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
Never have to worry about thinking too big? Because you have a connection that's ready for anything. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Hello everyone, meteorologist Scott Dean with your Weather on the Ones forecast as we take you through the week, as we're going to be tracking a storm moving across the eastern portion of the nation with rainy conditions, and this is going to be an all rain event even into New England as there's milder air moving across the country. This air originating from the Pacific, but also with this type of pattern it's pretty active as we're seeing more storminess across the Pacific Northwest with rain, snow, and also some wind. Looking at the satellite radar composite, we do have a band of showers pushing across the Ohio River Valley. There's the latest storm moving into the Pacific Northwest with some heavy rain in portions of northern California, and it turns over to snow as it hits the higher elevations. As we zoom in a little bit tighter, we had one storm system that moved through earlier. It's still some rain along Long Island over towards Cape Cod. Also looking at more showers across the Ohio River Valley. And here's that storm system that we're looking at now moving across the Pacific Northwest with some rain and snow there. So as we look at the snowfall forecast, it's going to be mainly confined to the northern tier of states in the Pacific Northwest, the Cascades, and also looking into the northern Rockies. Eventually another system moving across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and also into New England. That'll be mainly Wednesday night as it looks right now. So as we look at our futurecast model here, we have that one storm system pushing to the east with some rain that weekends, and then another frontal boundary will start to initiate some more showers across the Ohio River Valley, the Mississippi Valley, and eventually into the southeast. As we also look at another storm system moving into the Pacific Northwest as we head into Wednesday evening into Thursday, with more rain pushing into those areas later in the week, as we have that other storm system pushing to the east with some snow moving through the Great Lakes and into New England as the frontal boundary pushes offshore the southeast. Now, eventually we are going to see a pattern change with more Arctic air moving southward, and that will occur later on into the weekend into next week, and it looks like the coldest air is going to be in the northeast, and eventually that will start to lift out as we get closer and closer to Christmas Day. Now, looking at the temperatures, as you can see, we're going to be above average except for the upper Midwest, where there'll be a little bit of cold air as we head into the middle portion of the week, but eventually that cold air is going to be moving eastward, and it does look like temperatures are going to be below average in the east as we head into Christmas Day, with above average temperatures across the west.
France is rushing military assets to its far-flung territory Mayotte in the Indian Ocean after a powerful cyclone is feared to have killed hundreds of people. France's health minister reported at least 14 have been confirmed dead so far, but said that is likely a major undercount. Cyclone Chido leveled entire neighborhoods of metal shacks and other flimsy structures when it I'm Josh Robin. We're following some breaking news here on Spectrum News. Police in Madison, Wisconsin say there are multiple injuries following a shooting at a school there. Police are giving an update. Let's listen in.
So I'm going to tell you what I know. I'll answer any questions that I can. There'll be a secondary briefing that our PIO will let you know about, okay? Today, around 10:57 a.m., our officers were responding to a call of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School here in Madison. When officers arrived, they found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. We train on this almost quarterly. The last time we trained on this as commanders was approximately 2 weeks ago. The protocols are simple. Stop the killing, stop the dying, find out who's doing this. And the officers did that, and they did that adamantly. We had officers from around the county and around the state that came in support of this particular incident. Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this deceased in the building. Additionally, the officers began administering life-saving efforts to anyone who was wounded and making sure that those persons were transported. What we know is that a total of about 7 persons were transported from this scene to area hospitals for treatment. We know that at least 3 people have lost their lives, including a juvenile person. I don't have any other information about those persons who have lost their lives, and I'm not going to release that until we have, of course, spoken with family members and ensuring that they are fully aware of this tragic, tragic scene that occurred today. I want to thank all of the law enforcement partners and community members that came out to help. Our friends at the ATF. I've gotten calls from my friends at the FBI, the State Patrol, the Sheriff's Office, Monona Police Department, our fire department. It goes on and on and on. Because this is something that we all prepare for, but we hope we never have to do. As you can see, we have a unification center that was immediately set up where parents and guardians and loved ones and grandparents wanted to get information about their loved ones, and we wanted to make sure that they were unified immediately. So we were doing more than one thing at one time. We're still going through methodically clearing that school, clearing every vehicle, and making certain that there's no other threats to this community, which we believe there are none. We immediately alerted our mayor's office, and I've been on the phone with her and her office constantly. We also alerted Madison schools. We put the schools on lockdown, but there's no threats to the MMSD schools at this time. But we wanted to make sure that we did our due diligence in this particular case. Again, we're still going through collecting evidence, collecting information, making sure that our community is safe from what is a sad day for our community and for our country. And we have to do a little bit better. I don't have all the answers that you want right now, but I will tell you this. We have some of the best officers in the entire country. Our detectives are amazing. We're going to go and work hard and go through this scene so that we can piece together what exactly happened. Again, there'll be another briefing in about 2 hours, and if I have additional information, I will certainly let you know what that information is. Again, around 10:57 a.m., officers responded to an active shooter. They responded per our protocol. They found the person who they believe was responsible, who was down, deceased. We know that it's juvenile. We know that there are other persons who have lost their lives. We know that we've transported about 7 people after giving them life-saving measures. It's important to notice, too, that about 3 miles from here is our training center. Today, our special event team medics were in training. And so they got to practice in real time. They left the training center immediately and came down here and doing in real time what they were actually practicing for. And that's why training is so important, and making sure that we can provide the best possible training and the best possible response for our community members. I'm asking everyone to send your heartfelt wishes and prayers and thoughts yet again to a community, but this time it's my community. Dylan?
Yeah, can we start over here with Chief? Chief, you mentioned you're a father, you're the police chief here in Madison. What emotions are you feeling right now after going through all that?
To be honest with you, I'm feeling a little dismayed now. I'm so close to Christmas. Every child, every person in that building is a victim and will be a victim forever. And these types of trauma don't just go away. And we need to figure out and try to piece together what exactly happened. And right now, my heart is heavy for my community. My heart is heavy for Madison, and we have to come together as a community and figure out what happened here and make sure that it doesn't happen in any other place that should be a refuge for students in our community.
Right there.
What sort of gun-related policies, if any, were in place at the school, and did the school have metal detectors?
I'm not aware that the school had metal detectors, nor should schools have metal detectors. It's a school. It's a safe space. So I don't know. Again, it is a private Christian school. It is not under the authority of MMSDs, and that is something that we would have to look into.
Chief, of the 7 victims, how many are students? How many are teachers?
I'm not going to give any information about who the victims are, whether they're students, staff, or parents, because we need to make sure that we can notify people. I think that's the most important thing before we go any further.
But police didn't. They never fired their weapons.
That is correct.
Correct.
Let's follow up one question.
I don't know if it's a male or a female, but the police department did not fire their weapons. Thank you.
Scott, are there 3 fatalities you mentioned, including the suspected shooter?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So 3 total.
That's correct.
Are the 7 that was transported, are the 3 fatalities within that 7 or addition to that?
Yes, within that 7. Yes, thank you.
Was the shooter a student at the school?
We believe the shooter was a student at the school. Yes.
What can you tell us about the status of the other transports?
We know that they range from minor injuries to life-threatening. I know that's a huge, spectrum, but that's what we know now. And so we need everyone, again, to send your thoughts and your prayers out to them. One thing I do know is that we have some of the best medical care in the country here in Madison. And so we hope that everyone will recover. But at this time, we don't know.
So we did just get an update from our command post. 5 deceased at this time, 5 injured. So total of 10.
You know what kind of 10.
Again, this is a ever evolving situation. Just hearing that, what does that make you think? How does that make you feel? That we have to do a better job in our community on a Monday, right? So close to Christmas, that we're updating victims. And so there's a lot of work that has to be done, and we're committed to doing that work. We just ask for your patience. I think the most important part is the reunification, again, that we spoke about, making sure that those persons who were in the schools, whether they're staff, students, or what have you, are reunified, and we have done that. Again, I want to say thank you to all our partners. Again, our friends are here from the ATF. They're going to help us. I heard the question about the gun. I don't know yet, which is why we have a great partnership with the ATF that will help us determine the origin of this gun and where it happened. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and we will have another press conference. Stephanie has the location.
We're doing 2:30 at Fire Station 14 in their community room. 2:30, Fire Station 14.
Steph, can you confirm the 5 who are dead? Does that include the shooter?
That does include
it. Would.
Are the victims students, teachers, a mix?
Yeah. Again, we're not going to talk about that until we notify all the families that may be involved. Again, this is a 17-year-old girl? This is an ever evolving situation, and we're trying to figure it out. What did you say, man?
Has the school been cleared? Are all the students out of the school?
The school has been through a secondary clearing. We're doing another one now with the help of bomb dogs, just in case. We want to clear vehicles and things of that nature. So we're going to take our time, and we're going to go through and we're going to do everything that we can. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Okay,
thank you.
Fire Station 14 in the community room.
Are the students still in the school right now on the block?
They're out. Okay, thank you.
Yet another deadly school shooting, this time in Madison, Wisconsin, as you heard from authorities there. It happened about 11 a.m. local time at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. 5 people have died, including the suspect, who is being described as a juvenile student at the school. 2 others, it would appear, have been transferred to area hospitals in various conditions. And the police had just literally trained for this, as the chief put it, to a program to stop the killing, stop the dying, and find out who did it. And medics were actually training at the time right near the school and did in real time what they were practicing. A couple of other notes from that news conference. No other threat is seen because the shooter has been killed, apparently of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. No other information yet on who the victims are. There will be another briefing later. I'm joined now by my colleague, Lori Chung. And Lori, we can say that this isn't surprising because this sort of thing happens from time to time.
Unfortunately, with grim regularity, we see these shootings happen, and you can hear the frustration in the chief there who just gave that update. You hear the frustration in his voice asking for thoughts and prayers yet again, but this time for his community. There have been so many school shootings that we've lived through here in this country. In fact, fact, according to CNN's analysis of several incidents this year, there have been 81 school shootings this year as of December 6th. According to those numbers, 27 of them on college campuses, but 54 of them on K through 12 school grounds, which this school is, this Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, a K through 12 school with 390 so students, now dealing with a shooting that, as you mentioned, Josh, has left 5 people dead. And, you know, that community there is going to be, of course, trying to come together and wrap their minds around this, again, 9 days before Christmas.
Right. Obviously, at any time, it's unspeakable. But the school, like schools all across the United States, were getting ready for Christmas vacation. This was the last week. Then this happened, and it seemed kind of that the chief didn't seem nervous. He seemed to know exactly what was happening, because I'm sure his team has certainly trained for this over and over, and he has watched this, as he mentioned, happen at other schools around the country. We don't know who the victims are, except for the shooter. We don't know the gender of the shooter. We do know that he or she was one of 5 victims, and I say apparently self-inflicted because when the police came there, that shooter was deceased at the time that they got there. Any other things that?
Right. One of the things that you heard the chief mention there was that police did not fire their weapon when they responded. They got that call around 11 a.m. They got there pretty quickly. He mentioned their training center is pretty nearby. They had just been training for this. They train quarterly for school shootings, like law enforcement agencies do around the country, because this is a, excuse me, this is a reality of a life, and we've seen this over and over. And so they were able to get there fairly quickly, according to his description, and found that juvenile suspect, but he did not mention whether it is, you know, female or male. Clearly, they're still very early in this investigation, trying to clear out that school and get to the bottom of this and make sure there are no additional threats to this community, now dealing with so much.
And for those who are watching in Wisconsin, we should note that the school has been cleared. Other schools, public schools, have been placed on lockdown. And authorities have also been briefed, including the president and certainly the governor of Wisconsin. He put out a statement, Tony Evers, not long ago, saying that he's closely monitoring the Abundant Life school shooting, praying for the kids, educators, and entire Abundant Life school community as we await more information, and are grateful for the first responders who are working quickly to respond. Again, as I mentioned, the president has been briefed on the school shooting as well. And this is, you know, you can say that there are all kinds of markers to this. One of them happens to be that the anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Connecticut was only a few days ago. That was the 12th anniversary. We're going to continue to monitor this situation. There's a briefing, we are told, later on today. Maybe we'll find out more about who the victims are. But once again, as you see on your screen, there are at least 5 dead, including the juvenile suspect at a school shooting at a Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin. More news coming up here on Spectrum News.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so as a Black woman,